Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Extra Gents Scents. Hope that you're well. Today, what we're going to be doing is taking a look at 4 fragrances from the house of Moresque, which is a house that I've known about for a while, but that I have no experience with. And these aren't the only ones that I got in. I've also got 4 more. So you're going to see a little bit more from the house here later on the channel. But for today, we're going to take a look at the first 4 that are all testers. Yeah, so look at that. Beautiful presentation. It's top notch. The cardboard is so thick and heavy. Yeah, I mean, it's a tester. But the bottles look nice, so I will show you those a little bit closer up. The other fragrances that I have from the house are not testers, so those will come with the full package, the full Monty. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's start checking out some sick, hopefully, niche fragrances. And these were sent to me by maxaroma.com. So shout out to Max Aroma. If you do shop there, use the code GENTS10, save yourself 10% off your order. And I'll link these in the description along with Max Aroma. So as I said, I've known about this house for a long while, but I haven't smelled any of them. I've heard some good things. So hopefully these turn out to be some fragrances that I dig. Let's go ahead and start off with this one, Fiore deportofino. And that bottle looks awesome. Really love the look of it. Nice and heavy in the hand because of the cap. The cap is quite heavy and has a really nice like jade kind of look to it on top of the cap there. The bottle shape is vaguely reminiscent of something like Parfum's vintage bottles, but this is so dressed up and classed up, it looks 10 times better. So really love the presentation here. Where I'm gonna go with just 4, I think I'm gonna go ahead and spray these on skin instead of on a tester strip. So let's go ahead and get to spraying. Ooh, nice atomizer. Ooh, that is green. That's very green, citrusy lemon, a good amount of lemon. So it has like that classical kind of citrus feel in the open instead of being a more, overtly sweet grapefruit or bergamot or something like that. It's a little bit sharper. Also some white florals in there, neroli, very smooth, very clean. It has basil, giving it this big aromatic herbal pop. Floral undertones starting to come out more, not the neroli, additional florals coming out. Pretty solid amount of them, still smells very clean, very high end, has a natural smell to it. Has a great soapiness to it. I am digging this, love the way this smells. If you don't like green fragrances though, with floral overtones and undertones, you may not like this. It's really that aromatic basil, mixing with that sharp lemon in the opening that I think really does it for me. Like the additional geranium, neroli, iris, things like that, those definitely help. You know, they flesh the fragrance out, give it more body, more depth, more nuance. But that opening for me, that green feel, I dig that. Now I saw online that some people think that one leans feminine. For me, I'd say that's firmly unisex. I think ladies could pull that off just as easily as men. Comes across like a spring fragrance mainly. For me, also could wear it in early fall or summer. All right, next up, what is this bad boy? Aristocrati. Woo, look at that bottle. Dang, good looking. I like it. Not quite a Beetlejuice look to it, but looks very nice. Top of the cap looks great too. Looks like a marble countertop almost. All right, let's spray this on. Yeah, I really like these atomizers. Very good. Ooh, that's strong. Stronger than the last one. Ooh, that's interesting. Now these are pretty pricey. They're not inexpensive fragrances, so you do expect a certain level of quality with them. And so far, it's meeting that expectation. A lot of geranium in here. It's got like a light woody vetiver undertone, a little bit dry, a touch powdery, little floral speckles in there on the outskirts of the fragrance, and then a pretty prominent nutmeg off the top here. It has like a slight zingy, fresh spiciness that kind of pops off your skin. Lightly sweet, very lightly sweet. It's masculine leaning, much stronger than the last one. Like this one is really pushing out hard. Very classy smelling. It's a fragrance that has, again, a little bit like a slight throwback feel to it. I know that this one has been compared to Xerjov's Opera, but I haven't smelled that one, so I can't say, how close, how similar or dissimilar this is to that fragrance. But the word on the street is that if you like that one, you should like this one because they're fairly similar. Really, really dig this one too. So the first two, they are sick, really nice. Let's hope for good luck. Keep it going. Up next is Contessa. Ooh, dang. I'm a sucker for this color scheme that they have going. Each one of these is really cool because it looks like each one was, individually done. And for all I know, they are. I haven't looked that up or anything, but like the brush strokes on here. Super cool. All right, let's spray Contessa on. See how it is. I mean, it's definitely a feminine leaning fragrance. The sweetness in there kind of cough syrupy initially, but then it settles and becomes more of a floral sweetness. Soft, powdery vanilla underneath those florals. It has a bit of a, not sharp, but the star anise gives it a faint licorice hint. Maybe a little bitter touch on top of the florals and that powdery vanilla underneath. That tonka and vanilla comes out more and more though, and it becomes almost gourmand leaning, like a gourmand floral. It actually smells really, really good, but it definitely is feminine leaning. I don't know, it might be the best smelling one so far. That one's addictive. That one's got that quality where you keep going in for more, and frankly, it smells better now that it's settled down a little bit, because that initial waft, it was a little iffy for me because it did have that cough syrupy feel to it, as I've said a couple times now already, where the sweetness is just overloaded and just thick and cloying a little bit, just kind of, But ooh, when it settles, it is flipping good. That's the best smelling one so far, no doubt. Yeah, the more that sits on my skin, the better it gets. It has eclipsed the other two. It ain't close. This is my favorite one so far. I'm gonna give that to my wife and be like, wear this. I'll tell you, this one right here, love the opening. Love the opening. As it settles, it gets to be a little more herbal, a little more bitter slightly. I don't like this mid as much as the opening. The opening of this really dig, but as it starts to dry down, it gets a little more, so interesting. Let's check out the last one here. Oro. Ooh, look at that. Got a little spiral pattern going on here. Of the bottles, I will say that this is probably my least favorite because it is the least in your face, but it does have a really classy look to it. All right, let's spray it on. Best part about this is I'm about to go get my hair cut. So I'm going to be wearing 4 of these fragrances that are pretty strong. And they're just going to be like, dude, what is wrong with you? Okay, that is different. I just keep going back to it. It's initially a green, herbal, aromatic, kind of bitter amber incense with balsamic undertones. So it's it's ambery, it's warm, it's sweet, it's a little bit smoky, and then over top all of that, those green bitter notes are coming through, and it's what? Because typically with amber fragrances, you're hit with something that's very warm, spicy, sweet, and incense, will play a factor a lot of times in amber fragrances, but they don't have that opening. Yeah, it's a very different way to lead you into this ambery, incensey fragrance, this more balsamic, rich, warm fragrance. They start you off with something that's bracing and herbal and bitter. It's an interesting pairing. I keep going back to it. It's one of those fragrances that I think people who are really into scents will appreciate it a lot more than your average Joe who's looking to wear Sauvage. I really dig it though. The more it dries down, the incense comes through a little bit more, and those resins, they kind of open up a little bit more as those green notes in the opening fade away. Now it's becoming a very approachable incense resinous fragrance. It has some supporting floral notes here in the mid, and they don't come across as prominently as you maybe would expect. They're there, but they are way in the background. And so they're blended together with everything in such a way that, at least for me here, smelling it for the first time, it's not as easy to immediately pick them out as oh, here's this floral and here's this floral. I really like that. That is really well done. This is a great start. My favorite is this one. My favorite is this one. Jeez, that is super good. That is like, I would wear that, actually. I might not give it to my wife. I don't know. It's definitely feminine leaning, but I don't care. That's dope. So that's my favorite. Not close. That is clearly number one for me. Number two, I don't know. It's tough. I think maybe this one. I think this one. I'll tentatively put this at number two. I think number three, this one. And number four, this one. I love the bottle. Really, really, really like the opening. But I think as it dries down that this one starts to lose ground to the other ones a little bit for me. It's still good, still solid, but it definitely, of these four, would appear to be the weakest because off my skin right now, that one is the one that's projecting the least. Not that it's horrifically weak or anything, it's just the other ones have a little more push. And I think the base here could maybe use a little bit of a ramping up, you know, a little more depth to like the vetiver in there. This one takes on a soft vanilla, powdery in the base with some vetiver that's more clearly defined. That woodiness comes through a little bit more. Floral nuances in this one, but still really well done. Very gentlemanly. I'd say of all these that this one probably is the one that's the most like a suit and tie type fragrance, other than maybe this one, like these two. Yeah. So there we go. That's a really, really, really promising start here. All right, guys, that will do it for me. I'm gonna roll out of here. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. I'll see you again another day with another video. See you guys later.